one while you're deliberating, and ask yourself whether that's the conduct of a person who put a target on the back of families he'd never met. He was reacting. He told you from the stand. Mr. Maddie asked him, "You care about your integrity more than anything, don't you?" "No," he said, and I'll do my best Alex impersonation. "I care about smashing the globalists." They ridicule that. That's their right. There's a larger context for the speech than the speech that has been presented to you here today, and it's in evidence. All you have to do is look at it. They're all plaintiff's exhibits. They're not my exhibits. They picked and they chose what served the narrative, their narrative. All of us, I think some of you are a little bit younger, all of us recall where we were the morning of December 14th, 2012. And you heard news that you just couldn't imagine to be true. I was pacing the halls of another courthouse on the other side of the state awaiting a verdict in yet another case. And I thought, my God, how can this be? Children murdered in a school. My first reaction was fear for my client. It was a murder case. I wondered whether the jury would hear that and hold the gun against him. I'm old, my kids are gone, my thoughts didn't turn to them. Mr. Jones' first thought turned to his narrative, the deep state. Mr. Maddie showed a statement that he made about a global conspiracy of financial and governmental elites that want to control, enslave, and kill us. There's a crisis going on in this country. I led my opening statement with it. I give it to you now. Are these the words of a man who, for the sake of $1, targeted these families? Or are they the words of a man who's lost trust in our basic institutions? Over the portal, the doorway of the United States Supreme Court are the following words: equal justice under law. Equal justice under law. Every person in this country accused of anything has a right to come into this courtroom and rely upon the rule of law as a defense. And every person, at least in most cases, has a right to come to a jury and ask the jury to evaluate the case under law. Mr. Jones is doing that. Did he take the stand and say, in your presence, in the presence of Judge Bellis, that he believes Judge Bellis is a tyrant? Yes, he did, and he does. He has his reasons. They're not for you to consider. Did he stand in this courtroom and go toe-to-toe with Attorney Maddie when Attorney Maddie launched an assault on him? That seemed to be a little bit more than was called for. Yeah, called him an ambulance chaser. He said, nobody complained about others when they did similar things. That was an ugly display. I'm not sure why it happened, but it did. But you saw it. And I was reminded of the words of Aristotle, candidly, and what Aristotle said about anger. And I'm going to read it so I don't get it wrong. I might be Greek, but I'm not as smart as he was. Anyone can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, and at the right time, and for the right purpose, and in the right way, that's not within everyone's power, and it's not easy. I would suggest that a good part of the plaintiff's lawyer's case in this matter was an effort themselves to gin up anger, because this is a hearing in damages. And the angrier you get, the more money you will give. You're sort of like a pinball machine. Put enough anger in here, pull the lever, and maybe all that money they talked about will pop out. It's not the law. The judge will tell you the law, and if I misread this, listen to the judge. Under the rule of compensatory damages, the purpose of an award of damage is not to punish or penalize the defendants for their conduct, but to compensate plaintiffs for their resulting harms and losses. I'd ask you to take that to heart, because right now I'm under that portal, equal justice under the law. I'm pleading my case for what might be the most unpopular man in Connecticut, if not America. And I'm not apologizing for it for one moment, because I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. I trust each and every one of you. We've sat through a veil of tears in this courtroom that could not help but have stirred your emotion. Could not help but to have stirred your sympathy. Could not help but to give you a bias against Alex Jones. The judge will tell you, sympathy, bias, and emotion don't play a role in a hearing in damages. I didn't write the law. I'm a lawyer. You must follow it. You must follow it.